Hello everyone, welcome back. So this is episode 20A, potentially the final video of this Kiara character series. So this episode, we're going to focus on the final aspects of the character. All the rigging pretty much has been done. I'm just going to do a quick double check on some of the weight painting. Then we're going to export and then import into Unreal. So this one, I'm going to keep the mic hot. I'm going to stay here talking, gibbering and jabbering. All right, so let's go into the weight paint. So I'll start from the top, pelvis. So I still have no idea what the weight painting needs to look like. I've just been following sort of what the automatic weight painting was doing and just making it smoother, because a lot of the transitions were a little abrupt. Again, I don't know if it needs to be that way. Also, for some reason it wasn't transferring over onto the separate meshes. Like for example, like this belt like mesh on some of the weight painting that was like solid green, and underneath it was nothing, which meant that this would turn but the body wouldn't. So I had to go in and just like, you know, paint those separate mesh pieces. So spine 5, like this, I don't know if that's okay or if even the chest needs to have any weight paintings, but I'm gonna just leave that as is. This one, I just made sure that the collar mesh and the neck underneath were affected. Again, the head here, I don't think under the chin needs to move as much. So yeah, everything is still learning experiences here. So everything looks fine, you know. Oh, I missed something there. Like you see right there, I totally missed that. Like I don't know if that would do anything. I don't know if that would affect anything. So this is gonna be a test. I'm gonna leave that alone, and I'm gonna see if anything weird happens with that. Well, I guess we could check. Well, let's see how it looks in the animations. Like, see on that one, it grabbed it. I think I added that one. And again, I don't understand the choppiness there. You know, and like, see how this one has a darker green and this one just has that lighter color. Again, like I would imagine that would be red, no? But hey, that's what the automatic weights did. We're here to learn. Everything else is kind of seems to flow, right? Let's see on that side too, it skipped that whole bottom mesh. Let me double check the boots. I remember, you know, I went over that. Yeah, it looks fine for now. If need be, off camera, after we do this import and it looks weird, we'll go in and we'll weight paint after the fact. But let's export Kiara finally. Wow, it's been a long time since we started this to get to this point. So we have the character exported. So now I'm going to open Unreal and then we'll import. So I'm going to pause for a second and then restart. All right, so it has been a minute since I've been in this project file. Pretty much ever since I started working on Kiara. So this is just a sneak peek at some structure development. I'm trying to come up with a good modular system. As you can see, I've been just experimenting with you know, the walls and whatnot. There's something I'm trying to figure out, and it's the Z fighting. So I think I did figure it out. It's just I haven't updated these meshes yet, but I did start in Blender. So I'm gonna be doing a play on, you know, just the name I've been using, Sir Crone. I'm thinking about calling this Crone Industries, and this is probably gonna be like a cheese factory, you know, making that cheddar. I don't know, just being silly. But so far this is just the beginning stages of, I think they call this white boxing or gray boxing. We'll just call this off white boxing. So we're gonna work on getting Kiara into here. So TFZ, let's make a new folder for her, Kiara, and let's import. Let's go out to characters. I don't know why I say it like that. It's just, I like pronouncing things weird. So custom characters. Let's find this here. All right. Now we gotta link up skeleton, which is gonna be the SK mannequin skeleton. I gotta figure out why there's that SK mannequin skeleton, but I know it's just the SK mannequin skeleton. I think this is what the Unreal 4 was using. Yeah, it says it right down there, mannequin UE4, and then that's retargeted to the mannequin for the UE5 mannequin skeleton. And I think that's all we need to do here. Everything else we're just gonna let it just sit and let it rock. So import. Let's see if we get any errors. I really hope we don't. I don't think we are. We shouldn't. And no, it has to import all the textures. Perfect. That is what's happening, and there are quite a few. I think moving forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine some parts, right? So potentially the upper body will be one, lower body will be one. Again, learning experiences, and a lot of these textures are ultimately probably going to go because a lot of them are metallic maps and height maps, which I'm not using. I'm only using the base color, the roughness, and the normal map. But let's open this character up. So it's gonna be a, oh lord, learning experience. Okay, what I forgot to do was combine the meshes. All right, so but we didn't get any errors, so that's a good thing. But let's select all of these. Let's delete it. And I'm going to go back into Blender for a second and have to make sure that I click Combine Meshes. So it's going to be one FBX for all of the separate meshes. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back in Unreal, and while I was analyzing the file, I noticed just another issue that I was having. On the import, I was selecting a skeleton, but on the export from Blender, I didn't include the skeleton or the deformed skeleton. So I believe that on the import the last time, it was importing Kiara as a static mesh and not a skeletal mesh. So let's see if that fixed it. So now we're going to select the skeleton again, and that should be the only thing. I unchecked this before, so let's make sure that I check it again. So let's see what happens. I also remember that Unreal, after importing from Blender, the materials are very weird. You got a whole bunch of these like parameter nodes and stuff like that attached to it. Now I don't know if you need all that. Like for example, if we open up the arm material, it's probably missing a bunch of stuff, right? Like shininess map, but the normal map's not there, and you got all these multiplies and stuff. Meanwhile, I just want to throw a base color, a roughness, and a normal map. So that's gonna be potentially next video, because the focus for this video is just gonna be the animation aspect of it and make sure the rigging works. So everything looks like it works. Oh, it looks like the sleeve here has an issue, but I'll worry about that later. It looks like over there too. So let's just see if I can get the third-person character to use Kiara's mesh. Let's see, hold on. So it imported as a static mesh. Why is that? I forget. Give me a second. Alright, I'm gonna try this one more time, and I think I think the issue is I have to actually select import skeletal mesh. So let's try this one more time. So skeletal mesh. I had that. Everything looks fine. But for some reason it imports it as a static mesh. So it's factory node static mesh. Why is that? Let me double check something. Alright, so I think I just found the issue / solution. When I was exporting from Blender in the export window, I only had mesh selected. I didn't have armature and mesh and other selected. It was just mesh, so it was just exporting the skeletal mesh. But now this time I made sure to have everything selected, so hopefully now on the import it'll detect that there's a skeleton and it's going to link it up with the skeleton, the skeletal mesh here. Let's just recheck all these other ones, right? Like import and combine. Oh no, just leave import. Fingers crossed again. And I did go back to watch one of my old videos, and luckily I did keep a log of that. What's this? Failed to merge bones. This can happen if significant hierarchical changes have been made, such as inserting a bone between nodes. Would you like to regenerate the skeleton from this mesh? See, that I don't understand. I remember encountering this in the past. It's just been so long. I don't remember what the fix was for that. But now I believe we do have a skeletal mesh. But what is causing that? I'm using the game rig tools, game rig, and I'm not adding anything extra. Well, let us do this thing. Could just be a random error. I don't like it. I remember running into it and we did something and it fixed it. And I feel like I'm always going in circles with this. The skeleton is missing bones. That skeletal mesh Kiara, SK man. They will be added now. Please save the skeleton. What bones were added? And why are you doing what I'm not asking you to do? Oh man. Wait, what was added? Yeah, it is a little confusing. Oh, everything but those two little dots. What is that? Is that from the sleeves? Let's pause. Okay, it looks like I have to fix some of the weight painting there. But otherwise, that's not looking too bad. Animation is working. You see the separation there? That's a cause of having the separate meshes. And the way I fixed that with the shoulders in the last video was I actually welded the vertices. Yeah, like all these separate meshes How do these other games work that? Like, this looks all bent out of shape. None of it makes sense. Like, that don't make sense. Yeah, I gotta figure something out. But obviously that's a big no-no. It's definitely the weight painting. Now, how is this doing that? And oh, that looks awful. Where the shoulders just turn in there. That's bad. Yeah, so I'm guessing that these meshes just got to be one solid mesh. And like those other armor pieces just kind of go on. Like, for example, like that looks okay, like around the waist here, but there's no connection with the thigh there. Like, that don't look bad on this side, but that's like really getting pulled out. That don't even look normal. Well, a few successes, a few failures, and little by little we make some progress. Looks kind of cool though. That could be an error of what was happening with, hey, we added some bones for whatever reason. Alright, back to the drawing board. Alright, well, 1 step forward, 10 steps back. So the reason why I do this is one, potentially someone else watching these videos could see what not to do, and potentially get some help on how to potentially solve some issues, and also just to see that it's not all just rainbows and sunshine. Hello. Okay. So I started analyzing the errors, and I started analyzing the skeleton that was being exported with the Kiara skeletal mesh, and I started noticing that some of the bones had a naming convention like root.002, and then I remembered, wait a second, the skeletal in Unreal that needs to match up with the skeletal mesh, the root has to be called root, not root 1, root 2. And then I remembered in Blender, I remember creating about 2 different skeletons when I was doing the rigging process. So I went and I checked every single bone inside of Blender, and I renamed everything that had any extra numbers. So like, for example, this was root.002. That's obviously not compatible with the skeleton in Unreal that's just root. So I went, I renamed it, selected the mesh again, selected the deform bones here, exported, made sure everything was selected. Always make sure to put smoothing on face, uncheck add leaf bones, uncheck animation, and let's export again. Let's save this project. And now let us go into Unreal Engine. Alright, so we are now back inside of Unreal Engine, and we're going to attempt import. And I'm fairly confident that this is going to work now. So let's just make sure we select the right skeleton again. We're going to leave everything alone. It should be right. And drum roll. Please, no error, and boom. No error about the skeletal mesh. So that was the issue. There were improper naming conventions for the skeleton in Blender for Kiara, and when it was importing, obviously it was appearing as though there were extra bones for Kiara when there weren't. It was just that root had a different name. I think foot had a different name, and some other bone had a different name. I also did some extra weight painting checks. I really went in with the weight painting. I really paid attention. I'm starting to understand more on how that works. And oh look, she's missing an eyelash there. I'll have to go and fix that. I think that has to do with normals, and I forgot to do normals on that. But my focus was just weight painting and getting the skeleton fixed. I don't know. Let's just test out one quick animation. Now, let's see. Remember before we had the weird vertexes being pulled out from the arm. I spent some time on the shoulders, and again, it's just horrible that on this mesh, even though I spent so much time, it looks so great. It's not 100, because I think these parts need to be one solid mesh, but it looks good, you know. It's cool. I'm gonna have to go in and potentially like rework some of the vertexes. I'm gonna have to like maybe like see how you can see underneath like that little collar section. Might have to find a way to merge some vertexes and redo some of the weight painting. That's gonna be a separate day, or you know, just this is gonna be character 1 that might not end up in the final. We're gonna take everything that I learned on this character, take it to the next one. Like the bending of the boots, that don't look too natural, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to weight paint that. Like this looks fine on this side when it bends like that, but those weird like really bent up, like it's close but something about it is just weird. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm gonna show some of the weight painting fixing that I was doing. Oh look, this has a weird vertex that's sticking out there, and that's just a fault of the separate meshes. I thought it would be a good idea to do it that way, but it seems to be more headache than anything. The hands came out pretty neat. I like the way the hands came out. It's not too bad. The fingers do bend nice, and the hand looks like a hand. But again, it's just more weight painting exercises and sculpting exercises. So thanks so much, and have a wonderful day. Yeah, that don't look too bad. That don't look half bad. I like it. It's good. Talk to you guys later.